Hello, Krystyn.
Hello, Rachel.
I feel like I saw you a lot this weekend.
It was so great.
Like every day we saw each other, I think. We were celebrating our husbands' birthdays. Our husbands are born days apart, but years apart as well.
True.
Charles is a baby.
He is. One of our friends learned how old he was this weekend. She was like, way to go.
Who was the one that you were like, did Charlie say it last night that he was like, I was in preschool? He said something, or maybe you said.
Oh, no, I was making fun of him because there was like I think it was a song that we were playing or something. It was like, ooh, I remember this in 1992. And he was like, I was 6.
Yes. So we had quite the birthday. We were also celebrating one of our dear friends' 50th birthday parties. And
TV would like to be included in this.
Yeah. Let's just throw a little snore in there.
Oh my God, Stevie.
Wow.
I can feel her snores hitting my ankle.
The vibration.
No, the breath. Like I could literally feel the air.
I was like, can you feel the vibration through the floor of her intent?
Wait, no. I could just literally feel the air on my ankle.
Doesn't even look at her paw on this one.
She's so fantastic.
Oh, she's starting to dream. So, okay. So the topic that we're focusing on today is...
Wait, we didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh, hi, I'm Rachel.
We did that part. I meant...
All right. Welcome
to Two Mystic Mamas. Today on the podcast, we are talking about celebrations. We had so much fun celebrating this weekend that we thought, what a great thing to talk about.
Yeah. We're
fresh.
Still reeling off the energy of this past weekend and lots of hilarious interactions, lots of fun stories, lots of just capturing moments that you can't predict or anticipate. Lots of storytelling, the girls coming back together.
Oh, the 3 E's. Yeah. Your husband looked at me at one point yesterday and he was like, God, you always have a fucking camera. And I was like, do you know what I do for a living, man? I capture.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez. You never have a camera.
Right.
I just told him the other day.
Guaranteed. I have more pictures on my phone of you than Jeff has of you.
Yeah. I'm sure he has more pictures of certain parts of me.
I didn't mean naked pics.
That makes me think of a song. So, do you remember in college, AOL chat?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. You weren't 6, were you? No. Okay, so...
I was not 6. Wait, how much space is between us? We're like...
No, not much. A year. I think are you 81?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 82.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So, but do you remember that you used to leave out of like away messages?
Yeah.
And you could be like as creative or whatever as you wanted to? Okay. Anyways, so my college roommate at the time had called me and was like, oh my God, I forgot to put up my away message. Can you put one up for me? And I was like, yeah, sure. And you could like save different messages. And she's like, just put up the lyrics from Incubus, Part of Me. It's not Part of Me, by the way. It's Pardon Me. But Rachel, in Rachel Talk, was like, part of me while I burn and burst and whatever. And I wrote all of these lyrics out and then saved it and then walked away like, job done. And she came back and she's like, what the fuck, Rachel? And I was like, what? And she's like, the song is Pardon Me. And I was like, yeah, that's what I wrote. She's like, no,
Part of Me.
You wrote Part of Me. And I was like, oh, my bad. Like, I don't.
It is 100% so shit my husband would do. And he sends away messages all the time on Slack.
Yeah.
Don't give him any ideas.
Well, and so I was like, so now every time I hear that song, I'm like, part of me burst into flames or whatever the lyrics are. It made me think of that because of, I don't know why. Oh, because of capturing the moment. And I don't know. That's just where my brain went when I tried to capture that moment for my friend. So she wasn't embarrassed, but I did her dirty anyways.
Oh, man. Yeah, but you know what? That's why you ended up with Jeffrey. Because he appreciates that about you.
He does. And he does the same shit to me all the time, too.
I know.
Any chance he can get to embarrass me in a loving way or a funny way.
I feel like Charlie and I are pretty good at embarrassing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was totally cool with that.
The picture we shared?
No. Oh, I don't even know if he knows I shared that last night in the group. But
no, I was talking about the one on Saturday night where Jeff's like, yeah, show him. And then I was like, look. And he's like, not everybody in the restaurant.
Oh, the dick pic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's a shadow
of a dick.
Of a dick. It is not an actual
shadow of a dick pic.
Yeah, the shadow of.
Jeff was exploring his shadows.
That's what that means. Ooh, like the other day he sent me a thing on Instagram. I was like, this is what it sounds like when you run without a bra on. And I was like, that's pretty accurate. Back to the party. Well, so we kind of started the week off on Sunday when we had an impromptu party for Jeff for his birthday.
Right.
And we watched Liverpool and made food and just had a grand old time and the kids played. And then Friday, you had taken off work to celebrate Charles, which that was, an interesting, it's one of those days where like, I think this is important to touch on too, right? Because you can plan and you can have the best plans, but there also still needs to be a level of fluidity and ability to pivot.
Right.
Because you get side, what are those balls called? Curveballs. There we go.
What are those balls called? This is 100% going on Instagram. What are those balls called?
What are those balls called?
Curveballs.
Curveballs. That's right. I was going to say lemons, but those
lemons?
Those aren't balls at all. Because like, what do you do when
This is a moment I feel like
what do you do when
we
you
should
get
be recording
lemons?
video because if somebody saw my face.
Lemon balls. Lemon drops. No. Like when you get lemons, what do you make with it, right? Like, and same thing when you're planning.
Curveballs. You make curveballs.
Curveball lemonade.
Yeah.
That could be the drink of this episode, a curveball lemonade. There you go.
So now we're going to give out recipes on these episodes?
Eyebrows are going up and down.
How much fun do you think our editor is going to have editing out Stevie's snoring?
Probably not much fun at all. I mean, honestly, to be fair, we should just let it ride because it's not going anywhere as long as she's in the room. And trying to get her out is moving.
She's like a boulder.
A potato. Very big 50-pound potato.
I can move a potato very easily. I don't know how
I can just pick it up and move it. That's a terrible, I know. God, Rachel, you're on a roll. Lemons, potatoes. Anyways.
It really worked out today.
I moved this potato.
What a week. We did start the week out with Jeffrey's celebration and enjoying just like so much fun with all of the kids together. And we were hanging out. And it was another one of those days similar to yesterday where the hours just blended into one another.
Yeah, for sure. And you were like, what time is it? Oh my God.
We gotta go.
We gotta work tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. So, but talk about Friday and how, not the details necessarily, but how you guys.
So we had, oh, that's right. We had already moved past that. Sorry. So Friday we had all the best intentions of fucking Jurassic Park in here.
Oh my gosh, Stevie Ray.
So funny.
This is not your show.
She would beg to differ.
Mm-hmm. I sleep and I make magic.
So we had all the best intentions. Charlie actually took the day off of work.
Yes.
And he did schedule himself rehearsal in the evening, though, on brand that he would do that. But it's just his dedication to that program.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Evie came home in the morning. She had occupational therapy. She was at her last appointment and getting released, which was really great. And then we went and got some treats, and we had a whole thing planned.
Mm-hmm.
He had gotten these blacked out bumper covers for his truck.
Okay.
A year or two ago.
Oh, I thought he bought them for himself for his birthday.
No. They've just been sitting in our house.
Oh.
And so
energetic clearing.
This was the day. Right?
This was the day.
We were going to put the bumper covers on.
Yeah.
And then his company called a company-wide meeting. We rushed back to do that. And then they changed the meeting to 1:30.
As they do.
Right. So then the afternoon was just kind of blown. It was just one of those days that did not at all go as planned. He had some like expectations that he thought were going to be met that were not met. And then the back half of the day when he was at rehearsal, we had gotten some pretty like terrible news for our family.
Yeah. Complete shit
that was sent via a text message on his birthday while he's in the middle of a rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fired. I was not happy.
Mm-mm.
I went into like immediate protect my family mode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the point of this all being that, you know, he sent me the text message and he was like, listen, like, we just like, I wanted you to have time to process this because he had like a 4-hour rehearsal block or whatever.
Right.
And it was at the very beginning of that. And I was like, I just texted him. I'm like, we'll figure this out.
Yep.
Dial in. Do what you need to do. Like, you're an amazing teacher. And we'll make it work.
Yep.
It's fine. We'll figure it out. And so the rest of the weekend for us was really an exercise in moving through the processing of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, celebrating his birthday.
Right.
Celebrating our friend's birthday. Trying to decide like what we should be doing. Because it would have been easy for us to like hide away and kind of like stick to ourselves and wallow a little bit. But we chose to...
Or stay angry.
Right.
You know, like I think that, you know, when you have a financial door that closes without any sort of preemptive change is a coming kind of thing.
Right.
There is such a deeper meaning. And I think when you lean into that, like what is, you can immediately be like, okay, what is the meaning? Like I know, and you know, you and I talked about
100%
about like what some of that meaning was. And then it was like, fuck yeah. You know, even though it's shitty the way it went down and when it went down and all of that, it was such a toxic relationship.
It was. And it's, now we're in a spot where we're like oscillating back and forth between, fuck yeah, we like new doors are going to open for us.
Yes.
This is going to be great for us. And holy shit, what are we going to do and how are we going to keep our family afloat?
Right.
Right. So we're still very much in the infancy of that process.
Yes. Well,
because we were very busy this weekend and I think it was good, but man, have we like gone back and forth with how we're feeling?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can bounce some ideas off this one because I also did that, but I did it to myself. No one did it for me. And I was like, oh yeah. Well, I thought it was going to happen faster than that.
Right.
You know, but I'm also leaning in and figuring that out too.
I mean, if I'm honest, and I told Charlie this, I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Intuitively, I knew that this was coming.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know it was coming right now.
Yep.
Like I knew that door was going to shut.
Yep.
I just was really hoping that that door was not going to shut until something else was in place.
Yeah. No, and I can totally appreciate that. And unfortunately, the universe gets what the universe wants, and it's usually most of the time not on our time.
So sometimes we have to celebrate when we don't want to.
Yeah.
Or we have to celebrate because of, right? So
that's such an interesting thing to think about though, right? Like
this happened, let's celebrate.
Yeah. Like this was a fucking punch to the gut.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a dance party.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we did Friday night. We ended up going to our friend's restaurant because we were like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
We knew they were all going out and we were like, we probably shouldn't. we should probably stay home.
Yep.
And I was like, fuck that. This is your birthday.
Yes.
We're going out and we're
Yes.
celebrating.
Yes. Yes.
Nope.
No.
Put your fucking clothes on.
Yep.
We're going.
Yep. I think it is so important. Like the older I get, I have never been one to like really want to celebrate myself. Again, I think it's just programming that I'm here to celebrate others. I do that really well. But when it comes to celebrating myself, I'm like, you're being so selfish. You know?
That's bullshit, by the way.
I know. It totally is. That's where I have to reprogram, break that belief and reprogram. But I am all about life experiences and living in the moment. And it's been very rewarding later on in my life. It was fairly detrimental at some points in my 20s, but I think it is important when you're struggling in those moments to be like, oh God, to be like, no, we're not going to get tonight back.
Right.
And given what we have had, because there's so much to be grateful for, even when like shit hits the fan and you're like, you know, and you're having those moments, you can still be like, I'm so grateful for this life. I'm so grateful that we have each other. I'm so grateful that we have the ability to pivot.
Right. And that's what I told him when he sent me that text message. I was like, they do not get one more ounce of you.
Yes.
And they most certainly do not get to have an effect on the experience that you provide for those kids.
Yep.
They don't fucking get that.
No. Mm-mm.
So you live in the moment. And, you know, when I went, we had planned to take one car, so I'd actually dropped him off at rehearsal.
That's right, yeah.
And was editing the last podcast.
I was like,
in the parking lot.
have you poured yourself an adult beverage? And you were like, no.
No, I was sitting in the parking lot of a high school editing our podcast.
Yeah. Well,
but when I went back to pick him up, and I like took cupcakes for all those students and stuff, and they had already had something planned for him, which was really cool
I love that,
to get there and see. But he was in the zone, and he was in, you know, good spirits. And I had kind of talked to one of his other staff members on the side that we're like close with personally. And I was just like, hey, is he cool? And she was like, yeah, I didn't even realize anything was going on. I was like, perfect. That's all I need to know.
Yep.
Right. Like,
yeah.
Check the temperature, make sure he's okay. And, you know, we can move on from there.
Yeah. Good. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm also one of those people. I could have a celebration. I could find something to celebrate every day.
Every single day.
Yeah. Now, sometimes I'm an indulgent kind of person. So I'm always like, we'll put out a charcuterie board and we'll have some champagne. And, you know, so that indulgent behavior is not good every single day. But, you know, even yesterday was one of those days where Saturday night, the party was held at this really cool place in downtown Pittsburgh called the Pittsburgh Winery. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend. It was such a fun space.
It was super cool. We were in the tasting room.
Yeah.
And then they have a 250-person venue down below it where the Buzz Poets were
and I didn't
playing.
even look at the back. Did you see like all those couches? And how
it was super cool.
Oh my gosh. It was gorgeous. And it was catered by Dia Noyes and Lula of Swickley.
So good.
Both fantastic. I mean, the food was fantastic. The wine also was fantastic from Pittsburgh Winery. But it was one of those nights where, you know, the party started at 7, it went till 10, but it just flew. Like I could have been there for at least another 2 to 3 hours and just like talking with people, and the music was good. Thanks, John, for
thanks for the good tunes.
The good tunes, you DJ. It was just one of those nights where I just, you know, we left and I was like, that was so good. That filled the cup so much. And then that bled over into Sunday. It was one of those where everybody kind of got together for breakfast that was still up there. We weren't, but we went and got the kids, collected the kids, and went back up to your neck of the woods and just continued the celebration. You know, had really good food, passing around a lot of Jameson. I mean,
I did not imbibe yesterday.
No.
I had like a glass of champagne. I had a mimosa. That's what I had. I was like, I had something. I had a mimosa.
I had a Bloody Mary
when I got there.
Yeah, they were really good.
And then I was sparkling water for the rest of the day. But it didn't even matter.
No. It was so, and God, so many funny stories. So the girl that was being celebrated owns a salon. And I used to go to her when I still lived in the city. But then when we moved down here, it was too far and I don't get my hair colored anymore. And it was like, it was just too far to drive for a haircut. So I just haven't been going there. And then after I left my job in November, this past November, I was like, well, do I really need a haircut? I don't have any money. So I didn't. I haven't been getting a haircut, but I used to get half of my head shaved. And so it was growing out. And we were just sitting there and she looks over and she's like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on back there?
You can watch her. Like, she's just like simmering over it for a while. It was like it had boiled over to the point where she's like, I cannot not say some shit right now.
It was like giving her it was making her go bananas. Jeff's like, it's really bothering you, isn't it? And she's like, I can't even stand it. She's like, can I shave it off? And I was like, yeah, if you want. Like, it's your birthday, though. Like, I would never. And she's like, no. You didn't ask. I'm offering. Let's do this. And I was like, okay. Then it comes to light that the clippers that we're using are also the ones that her husband uses on his balls. And I was like, fantastic.
But then they died.
Yeah, they died halfway through of her shaving my head, half of my head, in her living room. And I was like, well, this is even better than me growing my hair out, is half of it shaved with ball clippers. And then somebody offered up, oh, it was you.
It was me.
It was you.
Yeah.
Charles's clippers that he uses on his balls. And I was like, you know what?
They were only a mile away. I could have made that happen. You could have had many sets of balls on your head.
How many balls on a Sunday do you need on the back of your head, Rachel? Oh, dear.
It does look really good.
It does. And it feels fantastic.
I was going to say, did that first shower feel real good?
I haven't had it yet, but thanks for reminding me. One of my favorite things to do when I am celebrating people that I love involves feeding them food.
You just fed me a delicious lunch.
I did. I didn't make any of that, though.
Still fed it to me.
I did. Well, I didn't feed it to you. That makes it sound like I here, Krystyn, open up.
Don't listen to her. She totally did. I sat in her lap and she fed me.
That's right. Yep. That's right. I hope you guys can all visualize that. That just made me think of one of the conversations we were having at Jeff's birthday celebration around the adult table.
And that was a good time.
That was. Where somehow. Oh, it was because we were playing that Cards Against Humanity game. And somebody was like, no, these are great conversation starters.
No, it wasn't Cards Against Humanity. It was something else. I don't have the game.
Oh, it's the Barstool game. Inappropriate responses or something. And, it all stemmed and circled back to the butt. Butt sex, butt play,
butt plugs.
Where do you stand on all of it? Which we're not going to discuss right now because we're talking about celebrations. And
I mean, that is a celebration
for some people. Some people might consider that. That is not one that I'm
like, babe, we won the lottery. Bend over.
Ooh, it's a unicorn.
It's not a unicorn horn, honey. Put it down. Oh, man. Therapy is going to be expensive.
Yeah. So, celebration for me always equals food. I think food is one of those things you have to have at every single party in some way, shape, or form, or it's a bad party. One of the recommendations that came out of my Reiki session when I was like, well, I don't know where to start. Like, how do I start working on my spiritual gifts? And I was just getting very overwhelmed and flustered. And she was like, listen, you just need to do you can meditate and do different things to get into a spiritual space. Like you can color, or you can write, or you can cook without a recipe. And it was like she was speaking to me because one of my favorite things to do is cook without a recipe. I don't recommend baking without recipes because, well, that'll just taste terrible. But
I do. Sometimes I get a little crazy and
really?
I bake without recipe.
Oh, that totally makes me uncomfortable. Because if you fuck up an ingredient, you're either getting a brick or possibly something that doesn't come together at all.
You are accurate.
So I don't like baking without recipes because then...
I like to fuck around and find out.
I know, it's true. Baking's not one thing that you can really do that and have it be edible. Anyways, so I was like so excited because sometimes I will find if I'm in a funk, I will force myself to cook because for me, it's one of those ways that will help get me out of the headspace I'm in and get me into the other side of my brain and the creative side so the energy can flow a little bit more freely. And,
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like I should do that. Like when I am stressed out, my go-to is cleaning.
It can do the same thing though.
But I like the idea of creating like maybe cleaning and then tacking on.
Yes. Yeah.
Making food afterwards. Like, okay, I'm sweeping away all the shit.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to create something new and beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do a lot of like kitchen witchery.
Yes.
Within my own practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I also like to cook a lot.
Yep. And growing up, we used to always have, my dad being, a chef, one of his specialties or what he got, his degree in was soups, sauces, and marinades. And so he can make soups. He just makes it look so simple. I mean, soups are simple, but you still need some basic things. And so we would always have really great soups, usually tomato based or like beef based, and people would be like, what soup is this? And I'm like, oh, this is Wonder Soup because you have to wonder what's in it. Usually it was like 4 days worth of leftovers that were thrown into a soup and made into a delicious goulash concoction that just tasted delicious.
Awesome.
But that's my go-to for celebrations. I love to make a lot of the celebrational things and purchase minimally. Usually the baked goods.
All right. I had a plan this weekend. Didn't work out, which is okay. Extenuating circumstances. But my hope was that I was going to be able to make an ice cream cake for Charlie. I did have a plan.
I've never made one.
Right. Well, I didn't get out to the store Friday like I anticipated.
Right.
Because I needed to buy a deeper cake pan.
Okay.
In order to make it work.
Okay.
And I cannot find my springform pans. They like up and walked out of my fucking house.
Oh, well, I have some downstairs that I was going to donate that I got from an auction. So let me just give those to you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good thing we're having this conversation.
I know. So I'm going to try and make ice cream cake.
Yeah. Oh, in a spring. Yeah, that makes sense. It would be in a spring form. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would make it a lot easier to do it that way.
Don't you have to like melt it though?
So what I'm going to do like Dairy Queen styles.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the fudge.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to do gluten-free Oreo crumbles.
Yes.
And then
fudge.
Right. So I think if you leave the ice cream out long enough that it gets soft, you can put it in on the fudge and then like freeze it in layers, basically.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah. Well, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Okay.
So you can celebrate in all sorts of ways. You can bake, you can cook for people, you can make ice cream cake, you can have butt sex. Do you have any special celebrations?
I thought you were going to say, do I have any special celebrations for Jeff regarding sex? And I was like, God damn it. No. Willing myself. I haven't. But I've always been kind of funky when it comes to like embracing the dark.
But that's not dark.
I know, but I feel like I'm going to start leaning into that more because with the dark comes the light. And I don't. I should think about it though, because this is, when I turned 41 in October, I'll be 42 this October. It was a celebration so much deeper and bigger for me than the 40-year mark on the decade. We did celebrate my 40th. We went to, the Grand Cayman Island. It was very special. I loved that island. There's a very special energy to that island. I will 100% go back there in a heartbeat. But this past year, I just really was like, man, 41 feels like the start of something really incredible for me. And it was. And so I think, I just keep putting in the energy into my spiritual journey, into my spiritual practices, having grace with myself. I tend to not have a lot of patience when it comes to learning something. I get like real excited about it. And then I'm like, okay, this is going to happen. And then, when for example, I've been learning about how to enhance your clairs, so clairvoyance and clairsentience and claircognizance. And, for the clairvoyance, that's where you see. You can see, either through your third eye or visually through your eyeballs. You can see auras and energy and spirits. Some people can see spirits like clear as day, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I sometimes find that I don't have grace with myself when it comes to that. So I think for celebrations too, when it comes to just doing all of the things, when I allow myself to get into that creative space where I like make food for people, then I allow myself, I calm down.
Right.
Like mentally calm down. So then things start to happen and I can feel that I'm being more open and channeling things and that sort of.
Right.
So I'd say with this upcoming spring equinox, which it's March 21st, right?
Yeah, I believe it technically falls on the 19th.
Okay.
This particular year.
Okay.
But it's
just
usually
tomorrow.
Somewhere between the 19th and the 23rd. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We'll have to think about that. Well, I'll have to look into it because I want to do something, because I think one of the other things, I do with any of my spiritual rituals that I do, one of the folks that I always honor are the indigenous people of the land.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that they did a lot when it came to honoring the equinox and changes in nature and recognizing.
Right. And with it being spring equinox, I would even challenge you and anybody listening, if you're feeling worried about, shadow work at all, which is merely really exploring the sides of ourselves that we hide away, right? Not necessarily anything dark. But I would challenge you to celebrate balance this week, this season. Like really celebrating balance.
Like finding that balance.
Right. And you don't have to have a big plan.
Right.
Right. So I was teaching 2 weeks ago and I had like a little break and I was hanging out in the office with the manager, and there was another teacher that was in there. And the other teacher had come in and had asked for Advil because she had a really bad headache. And so the other girl was like rummaging through her backpack and like trying to find Advil, and she couldn't find any. She was like, but I have tarot cards. And so she pulled them out. And so the conversation started, and I was like, oh yeah, I do readings. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, all right, will you do one right now for me? And I was like, sure. And so there was no time to do a big ritual, right? And I was like, very much in the moment.
Yeah, right.
And I did a reading for both of them, and they were like some of the best readings I've done in a while. And they were not my cards. They were, somebody else's cards. I had never seen this deck of cards before.
Right.
Other than knowing, because they were traditional tarot cards, but they didn't have any pictures on them.
Oh, fascinating.
Which sometimes I'll use like, when I'm kind of translating like the messages that I'm receiving.
Right.
So it was like a really beautiful moment where we were celebrating this unique part of ourselves that we had never talked about with each other before.
Yeah.
And I was doing this reading for them, which was like eerily spot on.
Yeah.
As we like talked about it, like as I was reading and saying stuff, the two, like they're closer and they talk to each other a lot. We're like staring at each other with like big saucer eyes. Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
So we can celebrate and we can do readings and we can tap into our spiritual gifts at any moment we want to.
Totally.
We do not have to wait for a big plan. And while I think it's really great to have ritual around cleaning your space and cleansing your space and preparing your space and, talking, like you like to talk to your angels. And like, I think all of that is so beautiful, but I think we can also lean in to not necessarily having to do it a specific way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and to your point, I have definitely, because I've been starting this new journey, I'm getting more comfortable with what does that look like? What does that mean? How can you do it faster and still have meaning?
Right.
Without being like, okay, now I have to read this. Okay, now I have to do this. And it's more like it just kind of flows all together. And I think that it is important to point out to that you can be safe and you can call on divine source energy, God, at like any moment. And the law of free will does exist. but it doesn't need to be a long, exasperated, extenuating thing. It can just be, and it can be in your head too. You don't have to physically say the words out, but your vibration of your voice does actually carry
100%
more if you're able to voice it out. So, but I think that's so great too when you have an opportunity like that, because it is such a gift.
Go out and celebrate today. Go out and celebrate this week. Whether you are celebrating by feeding the people in your life, or you are celebrating on a whim, or you are celebrating doors that have slammed shut in your face.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or you celebrate by chasing a wheel of cheese down a hill in England.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know about the cheese hill?
No.
Get out of here.
No, you get out of here. I thought you just pulled that out of your ass. And if you're going to chase a cheese wheel down a hill in England.
No, it's called Cooper's Hill. Cooper's Hill. Cooper's Hill cheese wheel race. I'm going to butcher this. Is it, you have friends in England, Gloucester?
Yeah, Gloucester.
Right. It's like Worcestershire.
Yeah. Anytime you see a shire, you're like, is it Shire?
Gloucestershire?
Yeah, in the
England.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There is I think it's like a 200-yard, very steep hill.
Okay.
That there's this.
You run or you?
Yeah, there's they throw wheels of cheese.
Okay.
Down this very steep hill and heel. Why do I keep saying heel?
I don't know.
Hail.
This is fascinating to listen to talk about this.
And they chase it down. They get
the
wildly injured. It's like you're running of the bulls, but cheese style. And
I have never heard
go
of
watch
this.
the videos of these people literally throwing themselves down this hill. And really all you win is the wheel of cheese. Like if you win, but it rolls at 70 miles an hour. Nobody catches the fucking cheese. Who's going to catch a 10-pound
My God, I have
wheel
so
of
many...
cheese? They do.
You are on the struggle bus over
I am. They do like slow-mo videos of these people.
Yeah.
I mean, they put, if you go...
Do they have like a kids?
I'm sure they have an injury report out there.
Like a kids cheese wheel race too?
No, but in 2020, they didn't have it because of COVID. And somebody went up and they ceremoniously threw a wheel of Baby Bell off the top.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I know way too much about this cheese wheel race.
I mean, I really thought that was something you were just creatively coming up with. And I was like, wow. That's such an interesting example to give somebody to go celebrate. But that's not yours.
Baby Bell
you did not create that.
I did not create any of this, no.
So we can't trademark that.
Nope.
That's okay. We can let that one.
You could honor it with your own cheese.
I do love a good cheese. I almost put blue cheese on Krystyn's salad and she was like, no, not that. Or Satan's butthole, which is what she calls olives. Which is hilarious.
They are.
When she says
it's not accurate.
No, when she says Satan's butthole, I know that she means olives, but most other people would not associate that at all. And I'm an olive lover.
I am not.
How much did you enjoy taking pictures of me at PenMac with all of the olives?
God, there's so many olives there. So many.
That
fucking scooping away.
I love it so much.
I know you are all about Satan's butthole.
I'm not. Kringleberry.
Dingleberry. We have really talked a lot about butts.
How we should take a bet as to when we host the podcast with the boys, how
sweet Jesus
quickly the butt's going to come up.
Immediately.
I mean, I would say within the first 2 minutes.
The
first 30 seconds?
The first words out of Charlie's mouth are going to be something about the fucking womb room.
For sure. But I feel like we should have things written down that we can then like take pictures of prior to the recording. And then whoever gets closest wins a prize, a cheese wheel.
I think this is great. Like how we used to bet on which kid was going to cry first and we would pick minutes.
Yeah.
When they were little.
I totally forgot about that until last night. So many memories came back, flooding back. All right.
All right, friends. Go celebrate.
We're going to continue talking on our next podcast episode, if you didn't know that. And we hope you tune in. That's all we do.
We promise the next one will not be just silence.
Oh, God. All right.
We love you guys.
We do. We do. Thanks for the support. Until next time, peacing out. Ciao.
Toodles.